Hey guys, Argent here. So this is not really a response. This is just kind of expanding on something that Matthew and Rampant Red Fox asked me about. Um, so they didn't ask me something in particular, but they just commented that Trump might be good even if he loses, and that's kind of what I've been saying. I don't think I've been saying in videos, but I've been thinking for a while. In all honesty, I don't think the Republicans are going to win the next election no matter what. I think the demographics are against them. I've looked at the electoral math. I don't really see how they're going to win unless something dramatic changes. I don't think polls are normally that wrong. The polls were all right for the previous election. Conservatives were just saying that they were wrong in defiance of reality. I think they were pretty much dead on, though. Generally speaking, polls are pretty accurate. Um, Even if they're inaccurate, they tend to be accurate in their inaccuracy, if that makes sense. So you'll see like a wide spread. You'll see a lot of variance in the polls, I generally find, before an election. There's been a couple times where they failed to predict exactly what happens, but I find 9 times out of 10, they tend to predict pretty much exactly. So Trump might change something if he was to become candidate. I doubt it, though. Even so, I think we should run him no matter what happens, because I don't think any of them could win. So we might as well not pick another lame moderate who's not going to do anything and is not going to make the case for our values. We should pick a guy who actually has balls and is actually going to fight. Because at this point, I don't think it matters. And I keep saying that because I have to hammer the point home. It doesn't matter who we run. The Republicans aren't going to win another election. And even if we ran another election, do we really want another 8 years of someone like Bush, who's basically a liberal in all but name? No. Now, is Trump a real conservative? I don't know. I think there's a good chance he's just doing all of this because he likes the attention, he likes the popularity. I frankly don't really care. The point is, he's the only person who actually sounds like he has a soul. He's the only person who's making the case for our values and the things that matter to the average person on the national stage. So I think at this point, it's not really about the minutia. It's not about who's up, who's down. It's not about the horse race. It's about meta politics. It's about a broader civilizational and, yes, national struggle. And in this, Trump is great. Trump, in the short time he's been in the campaign, he's shifted the narrative to be about illegal immigration. The whole conservative movement largely came from him. If you look at the right-wing blogs and the alt-right blogs and just on Facebook, like TRS and the Patriarchy and Disdain for Plebs, etc., these are guys who weren't going to vote or were completely turned off from politics. And now they're interested again. And now they have a bit of hope. The base is energized. Even if they aren't energized for the election, they feel like there's some hope again. All these guys who are really depressed about it and were like, oh, I'm not going to vote, etc., are like, yeah, I'm going to go out and vote for Trump. He's kind of, to some extent, kind of like the Obama of the right. A lot of people who, I'm not saying they weren't political, but they weren't interested in like formal politics, are now getting interested, etc. And I think the man has some staying power. I think if he does nothing else than run as a candidate, do pretty well in the primaries, ultimately lose to someone like Ted Cruz, but change the narrative about illegal immigration, change the narrative about like economic protectionism, and embolden a lot of the right who have just been so beat down and so just these aren't people who are cucks. I mean these are like actual rightists, actual conservatives, actual traditionalists who have just kind of understandably given up hope and stopped really trying to influence the public sphere. If all he does is embolden them and change the narrative a bit and scare the crap out of the establishment, then that's more than 99% of politicians do. That's more than the vast majority of them do. That makes him maybe not another Reagan, but pretty damn close. I'm not a huge fan of Reagan, but there's no debating that he didn't change the narrative, that he didn't change politics in America to some extent for the better. Once again, I'm far to the right of Reagan on most issues, not economic issues, but on social issues and foreign policy issues. But he was a lot better than like a Clinton or something. I mean, just don't make no mistake about it, guys. I know it's cool to say, oh, it doesn't matter, they're all the same. Even if you don't like Ted Cruz, I don't think anyone could really argue you'd rather have Ted Cruz in power than Hillary Clinton. I'd rather have Marco Rubio in power than Hillary Clinton. I'd even rather probably have Ben Carson in power than Hillary Clinton, although it hurts me to say that. But not Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush is just the worst. You can't vote for Jeb Bush. I would just vote for a third party if Jeb got the nomination. But as for Trump, I don't think it matters. I don't think we're going to win. People say he's unelectable. All the candidates are unelectable. Jeb sure as hell isn't going to win. None of these people are going to win. So we might as well just make it an honest fight to the death. What is it O'Reilly says? Men of the West. This is where we make our stand. He's not perfect. He's far from perfect. He's a deeply flawed man. He's a flawed candidate. He's obviously, regardless of how we delude ourselves, he's not one of us. He's not like an alt-right guy. But he's the closest thing we got. And he's willing to get out there and fight the left and take them on. And I say we give him the support that he needs. I say we take a risk on the Trump. What do we have to lose? It's either we stay home and don't do anything, or we support the Trump. Now, I know I'm Canadian and none of this really makes sense, but to quote the nostalgia chick, I can't believe I'm quoting her, I, like everybody else on Earth, am an American. This is Argent Templar, signing out.